Hello, and welcome to Empowered the Podcast. My name is Linda, and I am your host. I am an empowerment coach, a spirit junkie, a realtor, a proud mom, and a dog mom. I'm also an animal advocate, a child advocate, and someone that overcame a lot of challenges and trauma in my life. This podcast is packed with powerful content, inspiring conversations with amazing guests who will help you heal, grow, and evolve into a better version of you so you can attract in your best and most empowered life. I don't know about you, but I'm not here for mediocrity. I'm here for an abundant, blessed life. Life does not have to be so hard. That is an old program. We can do less and attract more, and I know this to be true. I love bringing you this powerful information. I hope you enjoy, learn, and grow. Have a beautiful day. Hello, and welcome back to Empowered the Podcast. I'm your host, Linda Brand. Thank you for being here. We have Eric Zuzack. He is a co-author of the #1 Amazon bestseller, Think Big, with Brian Tracy and others. Eric struggled for decades with traditional recovery methods before transforming his life by embracing his inner strength and becoming powerful Eric. Now, as the host of the 5-star rated podcast Porn Talk and a renowned porn and sex addiction recovery coach, Eric helps people worldwide break habits, channel their sexual energy to repair relationships, increase sales, and vigorously pursue a great life. I'm super excited to talk to Eric. I know thinking big is a skill set. I learned that from a coach, and it's absolutely true because we all have these defaults of, small thinking and, limiting thoughts. And I also realized that porn addiction is a thing. I didn't know this, but I heard from others. And so I'm super curious. And we are going to talk to Powerful Eric here on Empowered the Podcast. So welcome, Eric. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Linda. I'm excited to be here. And I'm, for some reason, inspired to share this quote from Zig Ziglar. It's one of my favorite quotes from Zig Ziglar, who says, "You are designed for accomplishment. You are engineered for success, and you are endowed with the seeds of greatness."
Thank you. I love that so much. I've been listening to Brian Tracy and Tony Robbins for 25 years, being in real estate with my real estate background and coming from a house of kind of negative, critical, judgmental, everybody's out to get you, mindset, scarcity and stuff. So I've been trying to reprogram. This is before I, became a coach and all these things years ago, but so important. Tell us how you started with Brian Tracy. How did you get that? That's amazing.
Oh boy, that's an amazing story there. So many moons ago, I knew I wanted to be in the speaking arena. And so I had Brian Tracy's goal planner. And so I'm using it religiously every day. And I landed this amazing job with a promotional company, Jim Rohn International. And I was so excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be promoting Jim Rohn. And then I get a call from the guy that hired me. He says, "Oh, you're not going to believe this, but Jim has got some project he's working on. We're not going to be promoting Jim. We're going to be promoting this guy." He's like fumbling, and he's like, "Brian Tracy, have you heard of him?" I about fell off my chair.
Yeah,
I
amazing.
literally using Brian Tracy's goal planner, and I had met Brian at a book signing event at one time.
He's
And
amazing.
So I ended up, literally like picking Brian Tracy up at the airport.
What year is this? What year is this?
This was like 2 decades ago.
Oh, wow.
It's no longer than that. Anyway, ended up going like in a limo with him and all this. It was so cool. But positive things can be stressful too. Like people think of stress as just negative events. There can be positive stress too. And I was like, I couldn't believe that where I was and what I was doing. And at the time, the internet was, starting to bubble. And I had, long story short, had fallen into viewing porn at night to deal like just excitement too. Like I can't sleep, I'm like so excited, about what
Yeah.
I'm doing. I can't sleep. And so it became this pacifier for me to help me to sleep using pornography before bed. And long story short, it really derailed my whole life. Like I
Mm.
was on this really awesome path that I worked hard to get to, and it just derailed me because then I started going to these 12-step meetings where they have you say you're powerless over whatever the addiction is. And
So you knew you had a problem. You knew you had
yeah,
a problem, and it wasn't alcohol or drugs, it was the porn.
yeah.
And you knew it was derailing. Like, how was doing, that in the evenings, how did that derail you? What does it do to take you away from being this strong, confident, successful entrepreneur? Like,
Well, for one thing, it would give me what I call a porn hangover. It's like sometimes I would get carried away and stay up real late at night, and then I
mm,
have to get up in the morning and do a presentation.
oh,
So
yeah.
I go to the presentation, and I'll never forget this. I'm in the middle of giving a presentation. We're usually speaking to a group of salespeople. Well, we always were speaking to groups of salespeople, and giving a presentation. And I was talking about having a mission, passion, persistence, self responsibility,
Mm,
attitude. And I remember saying those words about self responsibility and having a flash in my mind of me acting out to pornography the night before, and then I get tongue tied.
So you were
And
like, I'm not in integrity or something.
exactly, precisely. So I get tongue tied, and I don't even know if,
You were self-aware. You knew it was harming you. It wasn't doing good. So you took yourself to 12 step. That's
yeah,
amazing that you one made effort. So were you single at the time?
yes, I was. And, the quote unquote professionals um, who did not have porn addiction were saying I had to go to a therapist, I had to go on medication, I had to go to 12-step meetings. Being the good student, I did all those things. And it ended up really getting worse, learning out new ways to act out at 12-step meetings and have the meetings start out, the 12 steps. I am powerless
Yeah, I
over.
don't like that. I never have been to one, and I don't like that you're powerless. That's very strange because I teach we are very powerful.
Yes, our words are powerful. Our
Yeah.
words are,
Well,
and I
that's
know this from listening to your podcast. Our words are so important. And looking in the mirror or telling other people, hey, I am an alcoholic, or hey, I'm a sexaholic, and saying this over and over and over and over and over.
oh,
I mean,
that's what they had you do?
well, yeah,
Oh,
that's
oh,
that's how you introduce yourself at
oh,
12 meetings. For
oh.
example,
Oh,
uh,
right. Well, I knew
hi,
oh,
hi,
wow.
my name's Eric. I'm a sexaholic. I'm powerless over porn. It's been
Oh,
about X amount of days since
oh,
I acted, and then here's the worst behaviors I've done. That's
mm,
what you do at every meeting.
mm, mm.
And in the very beginning, there is merit to that because you have to realize, hey, I've got a problem. I'm powerless over this. I need help. But what happens is you never get beyond that. Like every meeting, you're saying that. There's
Yeah.
graduation. There is no step 13. So one day I was desperate. I'm like, I want to get better. And so I found this little app that uses science and mindfulness to break addictions. And just on a whim, I thought, I've been calling myself powerless over this, and it has clearly not been working. I made my login, my screen name as
Horrible.
Powerful Eric. And in that moment, pitiful, powerless Eric died and powerful Eric was born. I don't call myself powerful Eric out of ego. It is out of having called myself a piece of shit and powerless for
For-
decades.
Yeah. Good for you. It's amazing. Okay. So what got you into, like, tell us, go rewind a little bit to your life. Like you you were affiliated with Brian Tracy. Like what was your story? Like how did you get into the self-improvement development or self-development or entrepreneur? What were you doing? Like just curious about your life
I
before.
was super active in my Toastmasters group, and I come from a total sales background.
Oh,
Um,
so you came from a family of salespeople or?
no, no, I mean just my work has always been in sales.
Oh, okay.
from when I was pretty young, actually. I worked at this computer software company, and at the time I wasn't in like direct sales, but it was at least, the sales admin, like I was helping the sales people.
Okay.
I
So
always
awesome.
connected with them and then got into all different types of sales. My favorite one was solar power sales.
Really? I almost did that.
I'd still be doing that had I not discovered this, how it could help people.
That's amazing. Okay. So yeah, I want to hear about how you help people. And let's see. So yeah, when did you start coaching men with this? It's mostly men, I assume, right?
Yeah, yeah. I only coach men, although my colleague Beth, she does take care of the ladies, but usually that's just for like if a man comes to me that's married, I'm helping him overcome the addiction, and then she will help the wife who is struggling with like all this
Like,
stuff,
yeah, yeah, that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Right.
So
But what
I
I know what my mind was coming to. I want to learn about how you teach people how to like transmute the energy to build cells and stuff like that in there. Yeah, that you can channel the sexual energy into goals and dreams for salespeople and entrepreneurs. This is very powerful. I'm super interested to hear about this. My
yeah, so
son, yeah, educated me a little bit. I see that you're a little spiritual. You've got your Buddha back there. We talked about Sedona. You're spiritual like me, which I love. And I want to know, do you believe in what is it called when you don't even ejaculate? I forgot. Like, what is it called? Um,
uh
cystic.
yeah, yes, and I know what you're talking about, and for some reason it's not coming in my mind too. But yes, that is a thing as well. But let me, since you brought
Okay.
the Buddha here in the background, yeah, I'm a very spiritual person, and there's this story illustrates what I do in my method with helping people, which is a lot different than you would get going to a traditional recovery program. The story is about 1,000 years ago or so, these monks made this giant golden Buddha, and they learned an invading army was coming, so they covered the Buddha in clay and dirt to disguise it. And their plan did work. The invading army came. They did not find the golden Buddha. However, they killed everybody that knew that it was there. So it literally sat there for over 200 years. And there was a monk, a new set of monks there, and meditating on a bright, sunshiny day. And they noticed a crack in this clay and dirt. And so sun's shining and it's bright. And like, what's that? And they unearthed this giant golden Buddha. And that was me. That's everyone. Everybody has that golden Buddha. You can call it the golden Christ, whatever you want to call it, inside of you. But we get
Your
caught up in,
awakening, like an awakening, a spiritual awakening.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I had that too. When I was sick with a debilitating illness in 11 and 12, that's literally, didn't know it at the time, but when I looked back, I'm like, oh, that's the beginning of my spiritual awakening when I started to take care of myself,
yeah,
learn to love myself, which I'm still on that path. But that's incredible. So you had an awakening, and that
yeah.
was when?
Oh boy. Great question. That was around, let's see, around 2000, long time ago.
Okay. And I know my son probably wouldn't mind me sharing just because he's a good soul. Anyway, he taught me things that I didn't know because I mean, he basically, I didn't realize how prevalent this addiction is. So can you share some statistics around like how, because I think a lot of us don't know how bad the
Yeah.
problem
So over on the internet, over 30% of the websites on the internet,
are
believe
from.
it or not, or is porn.
Ew.
And porn actually, believe it or not, um, is they're one of the big innovators with technology because they want to reach more people. And
Oh,
the,
awful.
the,
Like on
the,
Instagram, I'll have in my inbox on Instagram, I'll have stuff like you're talking about in
yeah,
my inbox. And I don't know how I try to block it. I try to hide my story. It's still there. It still shows up. I don't know.
yeah,
And it's so yeah, that's wild. So that's interesting. So 30% of everything that's on the internet is basically pornography.
yes.
A big
And
chunk.
also the average age that a person views pornography has been going down. So
Younger.
it was 11, now it's 10. And it's really disturbing because like when I was a child pre-internet, like if I got a hold of a Playboy magazine, for example, I really thought I had something, you know. But now compared to well, the magazine no longer exists. They don't make the print version anymore. And now compared to what's available online, it's like super soft.
Right.
Like,
It's nothing.
and another thing that's disturbing too is on occasion I have a child reach out to help for me. Now,
Mm.
to be clear, I do not coach children. I do have a great resource I send them to, a great guy that does
That's
do that.
good.
I don't coach children.
Got to give anybody credit that's coming for help, that's asking for help. I don't care how old you are. If you have the courage to ask for help and take action for your life, like that is so something to be, commend. I mean, I just respect that so much. I mean, so and how do people, well, we'll talk about how people can find you, but I'm curious how you find your clients. Like, how do they find you? They just,
Primarily my podcast, Porn Talk. It's
okay.
amazing. I have men reach out to me from around the globe, from countries that I've never heard of. Well, here's another thing. Like, it doesn't matter race, religion, creed,
Mm-hmm.
where you're at in the world. This is a global challenge. And
Yeah.
I forget what state it was or what city, but one of the governors declared like this is a epidemic. Like this is destroying.
Yeah, my son would say that too. Yeah, it's really not good. I didn't realize. Yeah, it's an epidemic. That's why I wanted to have you on. I thought this could help somebody and could help if it helps one person that's listening, they can contact you and get help. And
Sure.
there's always a ripple effect when somebody gets help because they're going to help somebody else.
Yeah.
So,
But this really, I mean, this is really destroying lives. I talk to people every day. Most of the time when men contact me, their marriage is on the brink of divorce. And like this is an ultimatum that they get, either address this or we're done. And the man is either they're not living together or about to get divorced. And I mean, it just
yeah,
kills intimacy.
can you tell us why most men are doing it?
Well, so like I was telling you the story with about Brian Tracy with the stress, it is an unhealthy coping mechanism. You know,
Like eating or drinking, overeating and drinking alcohol and smoking drugs. So it's literally just another form of numbing the pain when if you're like stressed out and you want to relax.
yeah, and it's more than that too. I mean, most of the men that well, not most, all men that I coach all have one common thread, and that is their father. Either the dad wasn't there, like, divorced, or if he was there, he was either physically or mentally abusive. In
Mm,
my case, is a little different in that my dad was a great guy, but his mom and dad, my grandma and grandpa, were kind of messed up. And so he escaped by throwing himself into books. And he was a chemistry professor, PhD. And so my mom would jokingly say that she was a widow to books, even though when my dad was alive, because he was always in his study with his nose in a book. And so
Well, that's a pretty healthy way to just go read books. Like you
it
just,
is, it is.
that's a
But
beautiful.
the unintended consequence was for his three boys that he has, me being one of them, that I was ignored.
Yeah, he didn't pay attention to the kids.
Yeah, I really didn't. Um,
My dad wasn't around either.
yeah, so
All the
that
time. Yeah.
that's a common thread with all the guys I coach is either
Basically having either abuse from their father, neglect from the father, mental or physical abuse, or neglect. So basically, that's the common thread. That's so interesting. I like that interesting information. Is one question that just comes to mind because I'm like a women empowerment coach and I have some wounded feminine stuff is like, are these men do they have disrespect towards women, or is it just no, that's not part of it? Just curious. I don't know.
with the men I coach, I would say no. However, if you're continually dumping this in garbage into your mind, it's not going to help your perspective on women. Like, you, you know, and it will definitely, absolutely lead you to view women as just a sexual object.
Right. Yeah. No, I had a boyfriend who was very much into that kind of stuff. And sorry, the dog's making noise. Um and it didn't last our relation. It was toxic, but I wasn't who I am today. So you attract who you are, and I was more insecure, and that's what I attracted. But yeah, he was yeah, it wasn't good. But very interesting. So let's see. So we figured out people find you through the podcast Porn Talk. And what do you talk about on your podcast? Is it just you, or is there interviews? And is the podcast like basically ways to heal yourself? Or
No, it's not what you think. I listen to, there's a few porn recovery podcasts, and to be honest, I'm just being honest, they bored me to tears. Like their material was great.
but
Their material
they
was
didn't deliver it.
fabulous,
Yeah.
but I was like,
Yeah, I hate
so,
that.
so I wanted to make something that was more exciting. So I like to have guests on, and it's not just about breaking addictions; it's about breaking belief systems.
You
And
just did it.
and I love working with entrepreneurs and salespeople, because that's me.
Yeah.
And
And I'm an
that's
entrepreneur and a salesperson. I'm
yeah,
in filter too here in Florida.
yeah. Yeah,
And
so I like to draw that crowd to the
yes.
contest. And salespeople and entrepreneurs, they have a lot of energy, and oftentimes they are working by themselves for an extended period of time. And so salesmen can be particularly apt to fall prey to this addiction, because they're just one click away from popping over to a new tab,
Uh-huh. Tell us.
opening
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Oh,
opening a pornographic website to relieve some stress. And it can be really detrimental to the sales bottom line. Like if you're a commission salesperson, this this addiction can destroy your income.
okay. So let's bring the spirituality part. Now, isn't semen?
Retention.
Yes, we
That's what
found
we were
it.
thinking about earlier.
Retention.
Yes.
Yes. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So, that's our vital life force energy, our sacral chakra, that vital energy. And if we are dissipating it throughout the day with pornography, even if we're not ejaculating, like we're 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 giving our vital force energy away. And particularly for a salesperson, it's so important to have that little sparkle in your eye, that skip in your step when you walk in front of a prospect. And it may not even be conscious on their part, but they may thinking like, oh, there's something a
I
little
think
off.
this is news though to a lot of people. They don't know this information. I tried to share this information with somebody, that what you're sharing, that it's life force energy, that it's like, I mean, it creates children. It creates another human being. So
Yes.
yeah, I tried to share it. I'm trying to remember who it was. And he just looked at me really strangely, like he had never heard of this. And I think that a lot of people have never heard of this.
Read Think and Grow Rich, Chapter 11, The Mystery of Sex Transmutation. Napoleon Hill was writing about this in the 1930s. He was way ahead of his time. And that chapter is fantastic. I highly recommend it to, especially you're in the entrepreneurial sales realm. Think and Go Rich is a classic. You got to read the book, but go straight to chapter 11, The Mystery of Sex Transmutation. And he talks about channeling your sexual energy into your goals and dreams. And he also talks about sex and love. He says, if sex is one thing, love is another thing, but if you put them together, magic can happen. And it absolutely can. And, we talk about that energy bringing children in the world, but you can also birth ideas in the world, birth businesses in the world. And if you are just dissipating that energy all the time, then how are you going to give birth to these other quote unquote children?
Yeah, I love this. I mean, this is really important. I want to share this with the world because this is not known information, even though that book is out there. And chapter 11, I don't know if they understood the chapter or knew what they were reading about,
Yeah. And well, that goes to the next part of it. So as fantastic as the book is, and as fantastic as that chapter is, he was way ahead of his time. And the one thing that he does not get into, like you read that chapter and you're like, okay, great. How do I do that? And then it's like, oh, he goes on to, I forget what he
other
goes.
stuff,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
that's
So,
when
so
it's
he
got to
doesn't
have
give
like
you,
a remake, and then it says contact powerful Eric for more information.
yeah. So that's the how part. That's the how part. And unfortunately, I had to discover this really kind of on my own by trial and error because everything out there was using the disease-based model of addiction and all this. So one of the ways that I like to channel, transmute that energy, as you see over my shoulders, the martial arts stuff, the chi energy with Tai Chi, those type of soft type of martial arts. That's a way to channel
You're
such a,
saying like kind of like instead of like a healthier option
yeah,
of like what instead of doing that, yeah, I often being a coach talk on my podcast and talk to people about like, yeah, it's easy to numb the pain. Everyone's out there drinking or whatever they're doing. I don't do any of those things, but I do like food and I find myself sometimes overeating or eating for pleasure versus which we should enjoy our food, but like anyway, the thing
well, in that regard, I'm not perfect. And my Achilles heel now is ice cream, I have to confess.
yeah.
And
Well,
my son, my oldest son, I have two boys, I have a 5-year-old and a 9-year-old, and my oldest boy will jokingly say, ice creamful Eric. But a powerful Eric,
yeah,
ice creamful Eric.
yeah, yeah. You got to find some healthy ice creams or so, or make it at home. But yeah, it's like, it's instead of feeling our feelings, instead of noticing the negative thoughts, instead of feeling and healing, people are numbing the pain, and it really just makes it worse because you just feel good for what, an hour. Like I don't drink alcohol by choice. I don't have an addiction. I mean, I do have an addictive personality in general, but I like choose not to. I'm 56 years old. Like I don't, it's not going to make me more attractive. It's not going to make my organs any better. It's going to do the opposite, right?
Yes.
So I choose not to. And I remember I was in Miami in 2021 at this workshop, and I was at the hotel and I hadn't drank and I forgot how long at the time. And I thought, maybe I'll have a drink. I'm not going anywhere, it's not going to be and this woman, God placed a woman next to me. She's like, "Oh, I haven't drank in 20 years." I was like, if she wasn't standing there, I probably would have ordered something. But because God placed somebody next to me that said she hadn't drank in 20 years, I'm like, okay, I'm not drinking. You know what I mean? Because we
Yes.
always want to belong. And, I was like, everyone's drinking. And, not that I do that. I had one glass of wine in the last like 3 years because I was on a date and I thought, you know what, I'll try a glass of wine. I didn't even taste good. But that's just, again, it's just I live a healthy life. I try to live a healthy lifestyle. I'm not perfect either. We're human beings, right? We're human beings. But tell us about women and porn, like it not really porn, but like self-satisfaction. Is there any, you must be an expert in this whole idea. So is there any negative consequence for a woman to release that way? Like
Well,
if it's
sure. I
not
mean,
all the time or anything?
yeah. So that I don't have the statistic off the top of my head, but that area is increasing as far as the number of women using porn, the number of women getting addicted to porn. Um, and here's my thing. When I first got into this in a serious way, honestly, I used to think there was a healthy use of porn. Like I thought, well, if
Like
you could,
once a week or something,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So, and maybe this person, maybe this woman can use porn healthfully. But here's the challenge that I've come up with against is that I've found a whole world of sex trafficking,
Mhm.
trafficking of children, the porn
People,
industry. Like the porn industry, these are not good people. These, people think that like these two big tube sites are pornographic sites. Um, yes, they're in the porn industry, but what they're really in is the money laundering industry for like drugs and all these big
mm.
time
Oh, I
criminal
didn't.
organizations. So, like when you are clicking on pornography, you are voting in favor of these people because they have these little advertisements on porn and so my thing now is like, well, okay, let's say you can use porn healthfully. Well, what about the people on the other side? Is it healthy for them? Is it healthy for that woman that was sex trafficked and was put on purposely hooked on drugs so she can perform on the scene? Is it healthy for her? So
Yeah.
can you
Awful.
get off? Can you and your wife get off to the porn of this woman that was sex trafficked, that they made this video look like it was amateur porn? Because they do that all the time. They make it look like it's amateur porn and it's not.
Oh,
Not
wow.
that this stuff doesn't exist.
How do you know this? You read it or you
Oh,
saw it?
geez, I've been studying this for years.
Oh, wow.
I just had actually her podcast is coming out next week, I believe. Yes, Sabrina. Um, I had a woman on my podcast, or the episode will be airing next week, I believe. Her name's Sabrina, and she was on the front lines of sex trafficking, like literally confronting a sex trafficker, like face to face. And she would tell me these stories, and you'll have to check that podcast out
Yeah,
to
I
hear.
will. I will. Absolutely. No,
But
it's wild stuff. No, I mean, I'm kind of one of these that like I don't watch the news. I don't like the negativity. I couldn't watch,
smart,
like I try to like shield myself because I'm,
smart.
thank you. Thank you for saying that. But at the same time, these are real things. So this is important. So I'm glad you're sharing this, that you're doing what you're doing to help people. So do people come to you with multiple, like, so I think I read somewhere that you're also drug and alcohol addiction too, or,
Yeah, I do that too, but usually that's the secondary. Usually when people reach out to me, it's primarily for the porn and
and it's
like I'm
primarily
like,
'cause they're about to lose their marriage or something.
yeah, not that like, please reach out earlier. Don't wait till
Right.
the
Yeah.
but yeah, because for myself, like the way I used alcohol, I would use alcohol kind of loosen myself up than to use porn. So I always say good habits have good buddies and bad habits have bad buddies. So for example, one of the things I used to do also, I would binge with porn, then I'd go binge on fast food.
Yeah, that's
those two bad buddies together.
right.
But then, I started turning my life around and I start, I'd go work out. And then normally I'd go eat instead of the junk food, maybe I'm going to have a salad. So that working out has a good buddy, and that is healthy eating, because you
Right.
don't like when you go work out, you don't want to come back and like,
Waste it. Yeah.
yeah, go eat a big thing of fries at McDonald's with a
Right.
soft,
And you
right?
just worked out. Yeah. You want to do something healthy. Exactly. No, absolutely. I love that. What I'm knowing, what I just changed to Keller Williams and I changed my office. And I feel like, because I'm also a realtor here in Florida, but I've been focusing on the coaching for the last, couple of years mostly. And the point is, like, I notice I have to wake up way earlier now if I want to try to get to the gym in the morning, because
Yep.
with the meetings and things happening in the morning, like I always blocked out my morning for exercise. Like it's a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
But I have a dog, and so it's like waking up, getting the dog out, doing my morning practice, my spiritual practice. I want to hear what your morning, do you have a morning routine?
Absolutely.
Always,
Yes, I
right? The most,
wholeheartedly.
tell
And
us about your morning practice.
yeah. So that's one of the big things I work on with clients, is that morning routine is critical, crucial. Just today, I made it to the gym a little late. I got there at 6. I like
That's
to
late. Wow.
I
So
like
you're
to get
really
there
right.
I like to get there before then, because it's inevitable. If I don't work out in the morning and I plan on either the afternoon or the evening, something comes up,
Right. And then you don't get there.
then you don't get there. And I could have the best intentions of the world, but if that
That's
issue
right.
is there, I got to take care of it. I got to put that fire out or whatever. So, absolutely working on the morning. And I have one of the things I'm an advocate of is, oh, what's his name?
Tony Robbins. No.
No, there's a guy that, well, anyway, it doesn't matter. So in the morning, we got to start with some type of silence, some type of meditation. Then we have to I do some type of affirmation. Um,
Oh, Hal Elrod, the miracle.
thank you, Al. Yeah, that's who I was trying. I couldn't think of it. Then do some type of visualization exercise. Um, I do his whole routine. I've got to say though, that doing all that every morning is challenging. So sometimes I do bits and parts of it. But
Yeah. Same.
the baseline though, for sure, is like I work out Monday, Wednesday, Friday with weights, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday yoga, and on Sunday Tai Chi at an actual Tai Chi class. But yeah, that if there's any one thing like from any type of morning routine, it would be to work out in the mornings, because I tell my clients that your brain is going to get that dopamine, those brain cookies, one way or another, either the healthy way or the unhealthy way. It's going to either get it from porn and junk food,
I think,
going to get
yeah.
it from exercise,
Yeah.
meditation, breath work. I'm a big on breath work.
Yeah, I love breath work. Yeah, I think well, breathing is free and it's available to all of us, and it's life force also. And it's just a powerful tool when you are stressed out and different things like that. But exercise, it doesn't have to be in the morning. Some people that aren't like you and I can do evening workouts, but
Sure.
exercise should always be in your life. But a morning practice to me is kind of, it's at least meditating, even if it's 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, and maybe writing out intentions or journaling gratitude, and then the visual. I was talking to someone, an entrepreneur the other day, and she said she visualizes for 20 minutes, like stares at her stuff, like a vision board and stuff, in literally 20 minutes. I'm like, whoa, if I did that, I wonder how fast everything would show up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the workout thing, I tell my clients, if you're not going to work out through this process that we're doing, then you're doing the long, hard road. Like if you're
Oh, so it
trying to
helps
overcome,
with the recovery.
trying to overcome addiction without exercising, you're not getting those natural brain cookies. You
Mm.
know?
Oh, the endorphins.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
oh,
Exactly.
okay.
And that's the benefit of working out in the morning is that you bring that with you through the whole day. Whereas if you just work out in the evening, which is good, but you only bring those with you just till you go to sleep.
That's right. So did you, okay, you said 3 days a week weights, you said yoga, and what's the other one? Are you doing any
Tai
cardio?
Tai Chi. Tai Chi on Sundays.
Yeah.
I like yesterday I just did a little bit of cardio with my son outside, but that's my primary
Okay.
function.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. I know the older we get, we have to do muscle, build muscles. How old are you, Eric, if you don't mind
I'm
sharing?
53.
Oh,
53.
okay. You're young. For a man, you're young. Yeah, you look good. So no, let's see. What else do I want to ask? So people mostly find you from the podcast. Is this your exclusive thing, the podcast and the coaching?
Yeah, that's what I do for a living.
And is it like one-on-one, or is there like a class or 12 weeks or
Yeah,
how?
so there's a couple of things. One, I've got, well, I do one-on-one coaching. Then I also do group coaching, and I also have an online program as well.
Okay.
So
Like recorded?
yeah, yeah. So if they go to powerfuleric.com, they can get all the info there, and I'm on social media, TikTok, all that stuff.
I love it because it's a niche that's not, you're like, there's not many of you out there, I don't think.
No, there's not. And the few that are really come at this from a different way. Like, it, my whole thing is identity change. And I don't mean the current way of using that, like with the he, him, all that. I don't mean that at all. I'm talking about looking at yourself as a freaking superhero. And I'm not joking. I literally have the men, we talk about the golden Buddha story. Like the first part is removing the muck, removing the clay, removing the dirt. And the next part is polishing the gold. That's where most programs fail. They don't have the polishing gold part. They just focus on removing the muck. And the huge part of my program is on polishing the gold. And I literally have the men come up with a superhero name, a power name, a higher self name, a Christed name, whatever you want to call it. And they love it. Every guy I do this with
I like
loves that
that.
part of it. So to look at yourself in the mirror instead of, I used to brush the teeth of a porn addict. Now I brush the teeth of powerful Eric.
Yeah, and you're empowering others to be their highest and best self. And their
Absolutely.
highest and best self does not jack off or whatever it is that they're doing. I'm just saying. Um, their highest and best self is not, engaging in things that, are disrespecting women and harming others and contributing to the drug trafficking or whatever the hell they're doing. That's horrible. But I love that because it's so weird. Just today I did a solo episode on identity. So I was doing a tapping session, EFT tap.
Love tapping, loved EFT,
Yeah, me
highly
too.
recommend it.
It's so good. It's helped me. And basically it was on choosing a new identity. Like you could have something your parents said to you that's been your thought for 20 years and you can change that. Like you get to decide every single day who you are and how
Yes.
you want to show up.
Yes. Like print that what you just said there and put it on a poster on the wall,
Yeah.
absolutely. You can
I
decide
always
what you want to be, who you want to be, who you are.
Every single day is a new day and you get to decide who you are and what you're available for and it doesn't matter your external circumstances, you decide, you have the power, right? We are powerful spiritual beings having a human experience. I know you believe that we're energetic spiritual beings having a human experience, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And so I think a lot of these addictions are it's just a coping, it's the unresolved traumas, right? The emotional responses, right, to things that happened in the past.
Yeah.
And we all have healing to do.
We all do, and we all have traumas, even if you came from a relatively, great childhood, great household. Still, everybody has challenges. Everybody has traumas. That was a frustrating thing for me is all these programs I went through, we would discover our trauma, but then we just talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, like
Yeah, no resolution.
tool. And so that's one of the tools I love to use is EFT.
Really? Yeah.
Emotional
That's
freedom technique.
awesome.
I love that.
And you talk while you're doing it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
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 Because, it's for those that don't know, EFT is just in a nutshell, it's tapping on acupressure points in a certain way while saying certain things. It's kind of like a moving meditation. And it's so effective for this because, we were using our body in an unhealthy way, and now we're going to use our body in a healthy way through tapping.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the top of the head, above the eyebrow, the side of the eye, and then yeah.
Yeah.
No one can see me if they're listening to the podcast, but emotional freedom technique, you can look it up on the internet, EFT, and it's very powerful for me. It's just like breath work. These are somatic techniques because the body keeps the score as a book out there. The body is connected. It's not just all mindset anymore. Like it used to be mindset, and now we're learning it's the physical body has to be part of it.
Yeah.
So this was really amazing. Is there anything else you want to share? I love what you said about superhero and about changing the identity. It's so important.
Well, just that I come bearing gifts. So if someone is resonating with what I say, if they send me an email at eric@powerfuleric.com, I'll send them a free copy of Think Big. And also, if you're so inspired, I also have an audio book called Everything You Know About Sex and Porn Addiction is Wrong, the 21 Myths About Sex and Porn Addiction. If you mention that, I'll even give you that too.
Oh, good. And what do they,
Just
what do
mention
they
this podcast,
empower
Empowered.
us?
Yep.
Yes. And I'll put those links in the show notes. What was the email?
It's
Powerful.
it's Eric@powerfuleric.com.
Okay, beautiful. Eric@powerfuleric.com. And it's Eric, ERIC.
Correct.
Yes. Well, thank you for being here. This was good. It's so nice to meet you. I'm grateful to meet you and another entrepreneur, another coach, another spiritual being that believes in all the same things. It's good stuff.
Yeah, my pleasure. Nice to meet you and enjoy your big retreat in Sedona. You're gonna
Oh,
love it, I
thank you
know.
so much. I know. I'm so excited to go there. I feel like just being there is going to be so amazing. Just being in that energy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Highly recommend it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. It means so much to me that you are here listening. I know you have so many options of things to listen to, so it means so much to me that you are here. I hope you enjoyed it and found value. If you did, the best way to support the podcast is by sharing, subscribing, and leaving a review. I really want to help as many people as I can. If you know anyone who is looking for support, who is looking for a coach, you can find me at lindabrandcoach.com or www.lindabrandcoaching.com. I'm also on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, all the places. Have a beautiful rest of your day and live empowered. Take care.